leading.
Although we also have about maybe 50 more people coming in. I don't know if they're going to be able to make it.
Oh, boy.
I sent a link to the Discord.
We have members here from the Masonic Lodge in Georgia that's trying to link in.
Okay. Was not expecting it to get that much reach, but that's awesome.
They'll be able to log in.
Right.
They have sent me a series of questions that they're concerned about with Mr. Martin.
Well, folks who are watching us live, we're waiting on a few more people to come into the room. Usually we have a little more than this, so we'll give people a little more time to get here. How is everyone? How is everyone doing?
Doing good. How you doing, Jan?
Oh, pretty good. Ready for tonight.
Yeah, me too. I'm gonna hear Paige is gonna give that.
Oh, we got someone echoing. I think that might be. Yes, it is the BLM Atlanta.
Okay, we're gonna take care of it right now.
Yeah. Okay, I didn't want to just like send a mute at you.
Hey, Colleen.
Awesome. So I guess let's get started. Take it away, Colleen.
All right. Thank you, everyone. Welcome to Sunday Night Live. This is the weekly update of the Humanity First movement. And we are joined tonight by Barrington Martin II for AMA. Running through now, we'll be having an update from the Humanity First movement and then an actions update on what we're up to, the difference that we're making day to day, building up some big changes. And then finally, candidate spotlight. So for everything we discussed tonight, and there are links to what we talk about on these slides, and there's a link to the slide itself, tinyurl.com, HFM weekly meeting 2020-0830, so that you can find to get to these slides. All right. Now, we're the network that evolved out of the Yang 2020 volunteers, and we work with Andrew Yang's nonprofit Humanity Forward. And we're really galvanizing the energy that came up from the Yang 2020 campaign, moving this to drive forward these goals of Yang's policies and vision, such as universal basic income, which is really a driving reason why we've invited Barrington on tonight, as he's been such a cavalier, strong leader in that movement. So we can connect you with folks in your state, and we also invite you to join working groups to be part of the national infrastructure of the Humanity First movement. So we have a vision of a future where a data-driven government prioritizes intrinsic human value and quality of life. We have 20 activated states with their chapters. Georgia is a very activated state. That's why we'll have Rachel here tonight to tell us about how they got helped to get Barrington on the ballot and other initiatives they have going on. If you don't see your state activated, then by all means be in touch and we can help you to get connected with volunteers in your area and start your chapter. All right, passing it on to Yenny. We've had a survey on what our organization priorities will be. So results are in. Tell us about it, Yenny.
Hi. So we had 2 different polls that have been going out there. The what are policies our organization should focus on came from the list of the policies from Andrew Yang's campaign. We had 151 of them. Go back. Oh, where'd it go? There, just back a slide. They always get confused. There we go.
Okay.
So these are our top 10 results on the survey. We are going to be using this along with the top 20 to figure out exactly what our platform is going to be. We may have additional polls in the future related to this. We're looking forward to seeing how this can help us inform how we move forward and what kinds of things we work on and look for partners with. So I'm looking forward to this. If you could go back to the previous slide.
No. I don't know why.
That's fine. The previous slide also has a link to what priorities we should have in terms of what our organization does. Not necessarily what the policies are, but like, are we working on candidate support? Are we looking to train candidates for 2021? Are we doing onboarding stuff, like where it falls in the importance and urgency scale? So that's for folks internal to HFM. Reminder, we're extending it to next Saturday because we didn't have quite enough results yet. So please pass it along to your states to have them fill it out.
Yes, and if you are new to this meeting, new to this organization, hey, you're part of us. So that's the link, and you can again get a download to these slides. Yeah, you're part of this movement. We're finding you here. All right, we've got national working groups really cranking out some progress for this movement. Candidate support, communications, tech, onboarding, regional organizing, diversity, inclusion, and outreach. Testify for UBI. We are preparing to testify before Congress in the fall. Also, organization management and culture. And our meetings are open, so you can come to a meeting, just dive right in and find your place in the organization, find how you can contribute in the working groups. All right. Yenny, tell us about Basic Income March next. I can run through and tell you quickly about the Robbie Goldstein.
So campaign. Actually, I'm going to pass it over to Gray for both.
Oh, great. Thank you.
I'm throwing him under the bus.
Yeah. Hey, everyone. It's Gray. Back on the board for HFM. I'm also working on the Robbie Goldstein campaign right now. We've been having a pretty awesome weekend with Get Out the Vote, having like 20,000 calls yesterday and really getting a lot of volunteers mobilized for our Get Out the Vote period. Our primary is on Tuesday, so if you have any time over the next 2 days, Monday and Tuesday, we are going to be calling voters throughout the district. It's a pretty clear race between us and a very, very conservative Democrat who isn't endorsed by Andrew and isn't necessarily trying to push us in the humanity forward direction that we all want the country to move in. The Tuesday primary is the last date, so we win this primary and we've got another, humanity first candidate in Congress, and that would be huge. But it's not going to come without some hard work. Our shifts are at 12, 2:30, and 5 o'clock, and our team's pretty fun, so you should come out and phone back with us. And then, Yenny, were you going to have me speak on the Basic Income March as well?
Yeah, you probably know a little bit more up to date than I do.
Sure. So Basic Income March is on September 19th. For those of you who haven't heard, it's run by Income Movement, which is heavily done by Stacy. There's a project management sheet on the drive, and their meetings are Monday at 8:00. They're trying to do some actions leading up to the event, including a movie and some discussions about basic income. There are, I want to say, 30 plus locations right now, and the website is basicincome.march.com. So if there's not one in your city, similar to having like an HFM community or a Yang Gang community, you can create your own and start your own. And there is a pretty decent framework for helping you get started on that. There's also a lot of graphics and things like that done, and they've got a social media plan for how we're going to push that. A lot of that will happen in the next, or 2 weeks out. So probably starting, 14 on the 5th or so. Labor Day weekend is when they'll really start. After Labor Day weekend is when they're really going to start to push on social media a lot of the events that are happening. I'm hosting and lead organizing the one in Boston, but we're in DC, we're in New York, we're in, the California cities. Thank you for pulling up the slide. Here are the movies. Inherent Good is going to be premiered on September 16th. It's a new documentary on basic income. September 18th September 18th is going to be a review of, the last year in basic income and all the progress that we've made, and, what we as a team have been doing, and the researchers and academics before us who've been involved in some of the policy creation before many of us got involved with the Yang campaign. We'd appreciate you coming out and supporting this, and there will be a lot of stuff online as well. And if you have any questions, basicincome.march.com, or finding Stacy Rutland, or the Income Movement Slack, or talk to me and I will get you a link to the Income Movement Slack. So I think that is it.
Just two little additions there. In terms of it being a march, there's a whole bunch of other opportunities that are not necessarily getting everybody very close together. There's art installation options, there's bike and car rallies, all sorts of stuff. So definitely should check those out. And then we have another candidate in Massachusetts who we're not as closely tied with. That's a Yang endorsee at Alex Morse. And he just this weekend hit 1 million calls during his campaign. So I wanted to shout that out briefly. But he is getting all the help he can get from Sunrise Movement and Indivisible and a bunch of other organizations. So we're really putting our efforts behind Robbie Goldstein because we can make a bigger impact there. So please check him out if you can.
Thank you, Yenny. That's super exciting, the momentum that's building in these Massachusetts primaries. All right, moving on now into the candidate spotlight with Barrington Martin II. I'm going to send this over to Rachel Davies. Rachel is the president of Humanity Forward Georgia. Rachel, are you on for us here?
Yes, I'm here. Thank you. Hi, guys. I'm Rachel Davies. I'm the president at HF Georgia. Some of you guys might be more familiar with Lamont, who's very active on the national level and does a bunch of work for HFM. And yeah, if you could go back to the previous slide really quickly. I'm so glad you were just talking about all the basic income week stuff, because we're really excited to have an update on that. We're announcing tonight that we just confirmed Inherent Good will actually be premiering in Atlanta on the 13th, so 3 days earlier than what was on the previous slide. We have a really cool local independent theater here that is like a big cultural hotspot, and they have tried to adapt to the pandemic by then. Lamont was able to arrange for us to have the world premiere of this film at that local independent theater. It's called the Plaza Theater. And starting the next day, you'll be able to stream it online for free. But we are very excited to be doing this. And that's one highlight that I can share from what's going on in Georgia. What I also wanted to share with you guys about Georgia is mainly our work in coordination with Barrington's campaign. And I want to be able to spotlight him for most of the rest of the call. But if you want to go to the next slide.
Just as a reminder of today is the Cash and Money Bomb for Barrington. So if you haven't made your donation yet, it's not too late. It's still more of the day to come. secure.actblue.com/donate/HFM cash for Barrington is where you go. As you listen to this AMA, anytime you like something that you hear, you should go on and hit that donate button. All of it's going to come back to you in basic income. So what don't you have to give?
Awesome. So I'll tell you a little bit of the story about our work with Barrington and related projects. So we first met Barrington. A lot of people in our group have tried to take credit for who first found Barrington. And I'm one of the people who tries to take credit for that. I don't remember exactly how it happened, but I think I was just searching out on Twitter for different UBI supporting candidates. And I happened to come across Barrington, who's actually running to be my representative in the 5th District and is actually pro-UBI. Okay. Mind blown. Automatically, I want to support him because I'm a UBI-based voter. That's my primary issue. But also scrolling through his tweets, what really stood out to me, I see Nelson Neves trying to take credit too, but you're wrong. Okay. What really stood out to me were a couple of things. One of them was he reminded me of Yang in a lot of ways. One of them being the courage to be different and say something different. And then the other one, interestingly, I found it really cool how he was talking about family values from kind of a progressive viewpoint as something that I've been interested in personally. Of how do we approach that issue from the left? And I think it's something that, or for me being on the left, I think it's something that Yang does really well. And I think that Barrington also talks about it well, talks about issues facing women, families, and things like that, and brings his own perspective to it. So those are some things that I like to highlight. But I think anyways, we ended up connecting with him in our chapter right around the time that Yang suspended his campaign. We invited him to come out to our campaign suspension party, and he came out and met all of us. And from there, we were all just, he convinced us to get on board, and about half of our group joined his campaign to volunteer for him. So we went through the primary. He was running against a legend, but he got 20,000 votes, which is pretty strong. As you guys know, unfortunately, the person who was elected, John Lewis, great hero of the civil rights movement, but was Barrington's opponent in that election, he did unfortunately pass away after receiving the nomination. And we had something happen with the process of choosing the replacement to be on the ballot for the general election that we were really unhappy with as a group, and that Barrington and his campaign, even from their perspective, separate from our group, was also very unhappy with. The Democratic Party in Georgia, in less than 1 business day, chose a replacement without any feedback from the voters. Barrington was not considered among the those top 5 who were discussed. And So we did pick up that issue as a group, just simply from the perspective of the voters deserve an opportunity to give feedback on who they want to be on the ballot for them. And you can see some of the tweets from that up here. That is our election, not selection campaign. So far, we've had a press conference and a protest that's gotten attention from various media outlets. But at the same time now, John Lewis, may he rest in peace, did pass away before his term was up. So currently his term is still going. So the replacement they chose was only for the general election to start serving in January. My district is currently not represented in Congress right now. So there's a special election that is being held simply to fill the term up until January. We did, Barrington, he led the charge and we got on board with supporting him. We had to raise money to get his name on the ballot just to run in this special election, even though he's already had to pay to get on the ballot just, for the previous election. But he did it, and we're so grateful to be a part of that. So now we have, I'm sure he'll be talking about all of this, but there's a lot more work to do. The special election to fill the remainder of that term is coming up, and we really want to, I think you can probably go to the next slide at this point, because the next slide touches on some of these aspects. If he's elected, this is key for us being Yang Gang and being a movement, and why I think that you will all be very interested in this special election. Yes, it's only going to be a couple of months, but it starts now. So, it doesn't start this moment, but if he wins with a majority, he would go there before any of the other candidates that we're pulling for right now. So he could lead the charge for UBI much earlier. And we really know that he's going to be leading that charge for UBI, because I can tell you, we found him, he was supporting UBI before we even got involved with him. He's not someone who just threw UBI onto a list of other progressive policies to try and get an endorsement. Not that any of our candidates are like that. Love all of our candidates, but Barrington is a true believer in UBI, and I believe he'll take that fight as soon as possible. And we want to try and get a clear majority so that we don't have to face a runoff. We also hope that showing a strong win for Barrington could help our fight in the election, not selection campaign, pressuring the current nominee to step down to make way for somebody that the voters could actually choose. We haven't gotten an endorsement from Humanity Forward, but this just shows that we as a movement can choose our own candidates, choose who we want to support as well, and let that be brought from the ground up, from the grassroots up. So if you guys feel the same way, I think the Barrington campaign would really appreciate a donation around this time. And I think it's now time for me to turn it over to Barrington so you can hear from him yourself.
Thank you, Rachel. Can everybody hear me loud and clearly?
Yes.
Okay. Good evening, beautiful people. First and foremost, again, thank you for that beautiful introduction. Rachel, you are always wonderful with your words. I'd like to thank HFM for having me, because this is a really special night, because I finally get a chance to speak openly and candidly about the things that I'm so passionate about. My name is Barrington Martin II, for all of those who are watching. I'm born and raised from the great city of Atlanta, Georgia, born and raised from District 5 as well. I'm going to get right into it because I don't want to talk too much, and I want you guys to ask me all the questions, and I want to address a couple of things as well. My platform is called the People's Bailout. The reason I called it the People's Bailout is because I have this distinct belief, and I'm pretty sure you all can agree with me, in that for years, especially within my lifetime, any and every time a major crisis occurs within our nation, the government bails out the corporations. And as we've seen with this pandemic, it is us, the people, that make up the economy. And in moving the economy, a positive, progressive economy is not by us working, but by us spending money. And so the people's bailout is based on a comprehensive platform, based on the foundation of universal health care, but also universal health care services, and also universal guaranteed income. I know you all like to call it universal basic income, but I call it universal guaranteed income, and I'll explain later. My people's bailout also encompasses student loan forgiveness, criminal justice reform, and quality, equitable education for all students within this nation. The reason I call it universal guaranteed income is because when I started out my platform, I knew that I had to possess some type of ideology that will immediately help out the people. And that's what UBI does. And that's why I'm so totally grateful and thankful that Andrew Yang brought this to the forefront of American politics. However, the reason I adapted that within my platform is because I think that it was important that, being from Atlanta, Georgia, being from the birthplace of the civil rights movement with great leaders like Martin Luther King Jr. A lot of people don't know, but a lot of Black revolutionaries like Martin Luther King Jr. possess universal guaranteed income in his Economic Bill of Rights. Within his book, Where Do We Go From Here?, he speaks explicitly about universal guaranteed income. And I think that he really laid the blueprint for not just this city, but just for all Americans. He laid the blueprint for us to galvanize and rally behind it for a very good floor and a equitable starting point, for all Americans. What else did I want to tell you guys this evening? And yes, so that's why, as Rachel stated, UGI, as I like to call it, was one of the foremost fundamental pillars of my platform. Okay, the reason I say that this is a special evening is because this special election is not about me. It's about each and every one of you on this call tonight. And the reason I said this is because I ran because I'm tired of the political bureaucracy that monopolizes the power within our nation. And what I mean by that is, you see that political parties have more power than the people, and that is backwards, and it shouldn't be that way. And what I did within my city in running for Congress against the great legendary Congressman Lewis is that I did something that I was not supposed to do. And that is, I went up against a titan without the permission of the party. Some of you all may know this, some of you all may not know this, but there is a political power structure within my city. And what I mean by that is, if you don't get permission from the party, you won't get support from the party. As a lot of you may know, I didn't get any support from the party. I got shut out by the media. I had to deal with running a political campaign, a federal political campaign within a pandemic. I had all of these problems in a way, but people believed in me, and people believed in this message, and people, especially on this call, believed in me so much that I was able to accumulate 20,096 votes. For a first-time politician with no experience, no political background, that is unheard of. When you look at some of the candidates in my race right now who also primaried the great John Lewis, while they were in the thick of their political careers, they didn't even get that many votes. And that deserves to be said. So we are on the brink, or we are at the beginning of a political renaissance in which the people truly understand that they deserve more. And now it's time for the government to deliver on giving people what they deserve. And that's why I'm here. So this race isn't about me at all. This race is about the people. By me winning this election and winning it without a runoff, this sends a message to the entire nation that the people can run a grassroots campaign, fully funded, fully powered by the people, and still get things done, and still show that there does not need to be a machine behind a candidate for that candidate to be successful. And I think that that's very important. And I think that's one of the biggest reasons why I've been getting shut out by the media, and it's because oftentimes, especially within our society, in our political arena, the worst thing that corporations and political parties want to do is show the people exactly how much power they have. And my campaign from day one has totally trumped all the stereotypes and all the negative aspects that often come with running a grassroots campaign, because I've empowered the people around me, and I strongly believe and I know that my political platform not only empowers the people presently, but it does wonders for the future as well. Before I get started out with the question, I want to first bring up something I saw in the comments. Mr. Dawson, I see you said that you were going to be protesting at my home and events to clarify some issues. Please tell us all what these issues are, because I think it's important to, I need to know, or I want to know what you guys are feeling, what you guys need. And I think that as a person that aims to be your public servant, you guys should do most of the talking and I should do most of the listening. But that particular comment I saw within the chat stood out to me. So I want to just jump right into it and see what is the issues that need to be clarified before we move on with the rest of the evening, if that's okay with everybody else.
Yeah, that sounds great. We usually do hand raises for questions. So after, I'm sorry, I missed the name of the person who was Dawson. After Dawson, please put your hands up in the Zoom chat. You can find that at the bottom of your window. If you have any problems with that, just put it in chat and we can find it. So
this is John. I'm on phone. I don't have the option, but I'd love to ask a question.
John, can you hold off for Dawson?
Yes. Just okay. Let me know when, so I can go. So I can run outside and go off mute. So my boss isn't listening.
All right, I'll call on you when we're ready. Go ahead, Dawson.
Hello, how you doing, Mr. Martin?
Pretty good. How about yourself, sir?
From the outstart, I want to say that some of our members from the BFW and others, they couldn't join because of the weather, but we are streaming this live from other outlets and everything. We have on our screens about 648 people right here that I'm streaming. And I have 3 questions in which they ask. But also I'd like to say that all our members from the BFW, the Sonic institutions, I want to say to Mrs. Rachel, we absolutely support your cause. So I want to say that there. Ms. Rachel. Is Ms. Rachel still there? But
yes.
So
are you talking about the election not selection campaign?
Okay, so Mr. Martin, here's the 3 questions, if you don't mind indulging us, please. Are you familiar with Rose Caucus?
Yes.
And so they have endorsed you.
Yes, they have.
And on their endorsement, and on their endorsement here that I have read, and we did reach out to them, it said that, and let me quote, that every member who's endorsed by us must pledge that they are an anti-capitalist and have a socialist agenda. This is on your website and also on their website. Can you explain that? Because they did endorse you.
I'm not a socialist. They were one of the first people that endorsed me when I started my political campaign. I've never, and you can look on my website, I've never stated that I'm into socialism or even if I'm against socialism, but I have, I've never stated openly ever since the beginning of my run that I'm a socialist or anything of that sort. I just...
Mr. Martin, you did not say it publicly and everything, but they're endorsing you, and under endorsement, and we reached out to Rose Caucus, and they said that you signed the pledge. And under this pledge, on their own website, it says that you must sign a pledge saying that you believe in a socialist agenda and anti-capitalism. And you can go to their own website, and you sign that pledge. And they're endorsed by you. You still continue to have that on your website. So if you pledge that, then you may not say publicly that you're a socialist, but why did you sign that pledge and why do you continue to have them on your website as an endorsement?
They support me, Mr. Dawson. So I think that it was important to show that I accepted their support. However, I'm telling you for the record, right now, currently, that I was never like a part or about socialist, specific socialist ideologies. One could argue that universal guaranteed income as well as universal healthcare are socialist ideology as well. But I think that when moving forward is that we have to better educate ourselves on socialism, capitalism, all the isms about political ideologies. I kind of figured that that's where this conversation was going to go, and I'm totally happy that you asked me that. But for the record, I want to let you guys know and everyone else that I've never, ever, ever, since the beginning of my platform, since the beginning of my run, have embraced specific socialist ideologies.
But Mr. Martin, you still haven't answered my question, and I respect that. Once again, I repeat it. And we have everybody here, and I'm asking you correctly. On your personal website, you endorsed by Rose Caucus, and Rose Caucus asked you to sign a pledge. We reached out to Rose Caucus, and they said you signed the pledge, and to sign that pledge, it states that you must admit that you are a socialist and anti-capitalist. It's right there on your website. We didn't put it on your website. They endorsed you. So yes or no, did you not? Is it not on your website? First question, is it not on your website as an endorsement? Yes or no?
The Rose Caucus did endorse me, but what you're stating is not on my website. All of my endorsements are on my website, and one of those are the Rose Caucus.
Mr. Martin, it is on your website. I can do a screenshot. Rose Caucus is right there on your website under endorsements. It's on your website. This is your website.
That's what I just told you. I just told you that, sir. I just told you that. Yes, one of my endorsements are the Rose Caucus. I'm answering your questions. However, what you want to know is, am I a socialist, correct? And I'm specifically telling you and everyone that's listening to your part.
As Rose Caucus is one of your endorsements. And we reached out to Rose Caucus, and they said, personally, I can get it up here. The Rose Caucus specifically said you signed a pledge, and Rose Caucus said that any member candidate that we support must sign a pledge saying that they're anti-capitalist and a socialist. So will you disavow them and take it off your website? Because it's on your website. I heard him. I got the email. We reached out to him, and they said you are, and you have signed the pledge.
Mr. Dawson?
And also and everything.
Mr. Dawson, hi.
Will you disavow them?
Mr. Dawson, this is Alexis Johnson. I am Barrington's campaign manager. I'm his new campaign manager. I first want to say thank you for bringing it up because it is a topic that Barrington and I have been discussing for over 3 weeks now. Because prior to this, he was getting several endorsements just trying to get out the gate. I am not new to campaigning. So to your point and to his point, he is not a socialist. I read the signed endorsement that he signed, and it doesn't state that they must be a capitalist. An anti-capitalist or a socialist. It says to the agenda. I'm not sure what they gave you, but the information that I have obtained since becoming his new campaign manager, and I am not what it is saying. And also, furthermore, he had already stated that he was considering removing them because not all of his beliefs line up with theirs, but he appreciated their support. A large majority of the support that came from the Rose Caucus was due to the fact that his platform encompassed UGI, universal health care, and a equity education, which are also considered to be socialist agendas. He also is for a not 100% capitalistic society. So that aligned with that because he's for people, like if you work for 5 years, being able to get a part of the company's profits, which is something that we did in America back in the 50s and 60s, which helped establish a stronger middle class. So, I mean, I get it. I want to make sure everybody gets a chance to really understand and clarify and make sure that everyone understands as well is that in his primary run, it was a very small team, first time campaigners. He was a first-time politician, and some things were not overly scrutinized the way that they should be. But from the records in which that I have, that is not the full pledge in which he signed. It was more so, are you loyal to some form of that type of agenda? Not to, I am a socialist and that is it, because he's not that. Many socialists are not even strong supporters of the Second Amendment. Well, while he and myself are both very strong advocates for Second Amendment gun ownership, as well as stronger gun laws. So there's a lot in his platform that is not what they see and what is. But did that give any clarity? But I just want you to know that he had already started to consider removing them. Myself and him, actually, I'll be glad to send you the email and the text messages where he literally said, I'm removing them tomorrow during my office hours anyway. So that is something that he had already clarity and conscious decision to.
I respect that, ma'am, and I appreciate what you said. And I'm going to move on from this issue, but I just received a message from Rhodes Caucus representative, and they sent it to me, and I quote, Rhodes Caucus is an organization whose goal is in elevating working class and socialist candidates to position of power by providing policy framework support and building professional bench required to run effective left campaigns. Our candidates slate host U.S. Senate, U.S. Congress, and state legislative candidates. All slate members take the same pledge of solidarity and promise to do the following. Public identify as a socialist and anti-capitalist.
Okay, so
adopt and help develop concept and people reform. And I just got the email. I pulled it up, and I have a signed pledge that you signed.
Dotson.
So you have to
it sounds like there's some discrepancy on what you're looking at versus what Barrington is saying. I don't think we're going to solve this issue in this call. It sounds like we've circulated around this question about 3 times. Sure.
I don't mean to cut anybody. Let me say one thing. I spoke with the chair when she first onboarded me as part of Rhodes Caucus, and I let her know explicitly that I never was a socialist, but she liked what I stood for, and she wanted me to be a part of her organization, and she wanted the organization to endorse me because she understood what I stood for, and she knew that at the end of the day that I was about the people. Dawson, I'm from Atlanta, Georgia. I'm from the west side of Atlanta. One of the most dangerous neighborhoods is Bankhead Simpson Road. I know. Not to mention, I'm a special needs educator at a Title I school. I know what poverty has done to our community specifically, and I would never endorse nor blindly hide a belief of mine if I knew that it would be detrimental to our communities. We are on the same team. When you look at everything that's in my platform, a lot of people, especially within the establishment, it scares them because they think that it's socialist ideas. Guaranteed income isn't a socialist idea. We've moved to a point of abundance where it's very important to have a guaranteed income. Universal health care sounds like a socialist idea. Medicare for all sounds like a socialist idea as well. But we moved to the point within the pandemic where it's a shame that the richest nation in the world doesn't have these things within their economies. So I understand your concern, but what I want you to understand is that we are on the same team, brother. We will always be on the same team. And I'm very happy that this concerns you because I need more people like you to hold me accountable for everything, that I plan to do, for the great city of Atlanta as well as for this nation as well. But let's not mistake that my candidacy has been people-centered, has been human-centered, and it's been about you all from the very beginning. The reason I'm only in the special elections is because of you. Like, you got to understand, and this is very important to say, if I go to DC and I make a bad decision, I don't just have to answer to you as a person being a part of my district. I have to answer to all my aunts that stay in Adamsville. I have to answer to my grandmothers. I have to answer to my mother, my father, my friends, the parents of the babies that I teach on a day-to-day basis. So I appreciate your concern, but please do not mistake the fact that my decision making has always been on the people's first, and I'm going to always make the decisions that are best for the people. And if it offended you and the rest of the people that you bring forward this conference call, I will remove it immediately. It's no problem at all. But I just want you to know that my heart was always in the right place. I'm going to always accept any type of people that support me. But at the end of the day, I know what's best needed for my people, and I know what's best needed for the people of this nation. And I totally hope that this answers your question.
Well, last
All right,
question.
thank you, Barrington. Thank you. Dawson, I think you.
No, sir. I have a question for a Prince Hall worship master in his district. Prince Hall, I'm pretty sure.
But Dawson, there are other people who do want to ask questions.
Well, can he answer the question from Prince Hall Mason that's located in his district? And I'll leave that question. I'll start with any of my questions. Mr. Martin, very familiar with Masons are. He's a Prince Hall worship master in his district, and he has just one question. So can I read the question that he has?
Yes, you can read the question that he has. Yenny said that she gave that to you.
His name is Thomas Jordan. He's the worship master at Prince Hall's Lodge. He wants to know, what do you plan to do for veterans? Do you support illegal immigration? And also you want to know that, are you or be willing to raise taxes or lower taxes on the super rich?
Okay, give me those questions in order. Can I get one at a time so I can answer those thoroughly for you, please?
I do think that in the interest of time, because our meeting goes from 8:30 to 9:30, can we pick one of those questions out of the three? Because that was one person, so we would like to limit them to one question, please.
That's fair.
Mr. Dawson, this is Alexis. I messaged you privately. Please also send me your email. And what I want to do, because I want to make sure everybody's questions get answered, we will set up a private one-on-one Zoom and Facebook Live with you all to answer everything. Because at the end of the day, we are all part of the same community. And what I mean by that, we are all black people here. So our issues in our community is a separate platform that's entirely important to us. So I want to make sure that all those answers get to you and every question gets answered. So after he answers this, please just message me in the chat box with your email, and I will shoot you a link tonight to make sure that we get this scheduled, because it's important to all of us.
I appreciate that, ma'am, and thank Mr. Warren for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you. And let's try to get one question at a time because we've only got 10 minutes left for this meeting. Thank you.
So John had from the phone line had a question, and then we'll go to hands. John, are you there?
I am. I just had to unmute.
Cool.
Yeah. So, real fast. I want just in defense. I mean, I'm not quite familiar with the Rose Caucus success, but I would like to point out that our military is not free market, but not communist, but socialist. I think what the last questioner was trying to do is make a point between communism and socialism, which we need to differentiate, because if you go into the military, no matter what branch you try, E1 or O1, same basic pay. No matter what you do, there's some analysis. You have trigger. The military, if you think our free market economy or semi-free market economy is socialist. And then to move on from there, I'd like to know what our distinguished candidate's view on our relationships with China are right now. Specifically, I read an article in this month's Atlantic, which kind of scares the hell out of me. I've also read two books. One's called Shadow War, and the other one's Stealth War. And you guys should read those books, Shadow War and Stealth War, by two different authors. One's dealing specifically with China, and the other one's on how it's taking over the world while we sleep. And then there's another book out there that would be worth reading, and that's called Profiles in Corruption. I'm hoping that that your campaign manager or you are taking notes on these titles: Profile in Corruption and Shadow War and Stealth War. I think, and so.
Do you have a question about them?
Yeah. Well, it's like our candidate. What is his views towards China and our relationship with China. How is he going to, because they are a rising economic power. They went from number 3 to number 2, and they are our rival, and we could be headed for a Cold War with them. How is his viewpoint with our relationship towards China? The People's Republic of China, Beijing, not Taiwan.
But what's your name, sir? You asking me this question?
Oh, I'm John. I'm actually in Iowa. I'm not in your district, but these are something very concerned. I try to keep up to date, and since you are going to be one of our people up there, besides having our back on national issues, having your districts back on local issues, this is an international policy issue.
Absolutely.
And so when you're up in Congress, you have to be aware of everything.
Yeah. Go ahead, Barrington.
Okay, so John, I'm going to be honest with you. I feel like I'm still currently doing my homework on our issues with China to better my position, because I don't want to just tell you anything inaccurate or something I don't believe in. However, I say that one of my personal beliefs is that we have to do all that we can in-house to make sure that the people of the United States are taken care of on all levels, whether it's socially, economically, or financially, for that matter. So what I'm going to do is, would you please DM me your private information, your email, and I'll answer this for you in totality, because I want to be better educated. And I've been looking into things with China, but in order for me to be able to answer you thoroughly the way I want to, I want to better my position and better my knowledge on it. Is that okay?
That's okay. I'm on the phone right now. I called and I texted. My phone number should be appearing on your screen. So 515-422.
Yeah.
Is there a way that you guys could?
John, I can grab your information and get it to them for you.
Please.
Yeah. Or they could text me directly off that. If you could pass my phone number on to them, and either his campaign director, or he himself, and we can go from there. Would that be all right?
That's perfect.
Yeah. If you just text, she'll give you my my thing, or my number is 515-422-2717. So
yeah, it shows up here.
Yeah. So you just if you just write that down and you can text me directly, no problem.
I got you. Okay.
All right.
Do you have that, sir? Do you have that, sir?
Yes, I do. I see it right now.
Thank you.
I got it right here.
Okay, just shoot me a text real fast. Thanks.
Oh, I don't have my phone with me, but okay, I will.
Yes, sir. Thanks. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.
All right. So we've got a hand up from Angelo. Go ahead.
Oh, Jim actually had his up before me.
Oh, I missed that. Go ahead, Jim.
Oh, I didn't know there was a pecking order that everybody knew about. Yeah, I mean, I just wanted to point out, I don't know exactly what the background was from the other caller, but I am curious about how well you're working with people in the community and even in the party, because and that's kind of one of the roles I'm trying to play with my Virginia Yang Gang chapter and the HFM now, is to see how we can work with the party and build bridges and relationships that we can, utilize in the future. So, by running against John Lewis when he was dying, I'm sure you ruffled some feathers. And then I just looked at your Twitter, and you said Kamala Harris said, change happens when people vote. And you said in your tweet, like nothing good has ever basically happened for Black people when Democrats are elected, which, I mean, between Barack Obama raising the minimum wage and expanding Medicaid and the Affordable Care Act. And I mean, if I could spend all night talking about Barack Obama's accomplishments and Lyndon Johnson with the Voting Rights Act and Medicaid and all the efforts of other Democrats over the years to try to fight Republicans who try to cut these programs. So could you talk a little bit about how you plan to build bridges? Because
if you're going to win a Democratic primary, you probably shouldn't be, you know, I don't know if there's an insurgent vote that's big enough for you to win a Democratic primary. So, you know, if you want evidence of that, you know, Joe Biden is the nominee. So, and mostly because of black voters. So, could you talk a little bit about why you decided to run against John Lewis, and, you know, any thoughts you have on that?
Okay, so for the record, just so we are here so everyone can know, what I said specifically, and I quote myself, is that black people have voted en masse for Democratic candidates almost 90% of the time since the mid-60s, and nothing about their condition has within this nation has changed for the better over the years. Now, to answer your question, I ran against the great Congressman John Lewis because of a few reasons. For one, I think that it was important for us to move towards a new direction in which we have been under the same direction for the last 32 to 33 years within this district specifically. And I felt that it was very irresponsible for the people of this district to continue to put the weight of the district on the great congressman's shoulders as he was aging. And furthermore, as we found out, he was dealing with pancreatic cancer. For the record, I decided to run against the great Congressman Lewis June of last year, and he announced his cancer diagnosis December of last year. So I think that's important for me to clear up, because a lot of people within the party felt as if I was being an opportunist, and I really wasn't an opportunist. The reason I ran in the first place is because, like I stated earlier, is that I'm born and raised from this district. I've seen how the district has changed. However, I've seen how the district has worsened as well. The reason I say this is because there are so many neighborhoods in Atlanta, the Adamsville community, for example, the Grove Park community where I'm from, that has not changed distinctively as far as being progressive for the people in that area. It has become gentrified, of course, but what you see is that a lot of communities within the city or the district specifically have been left behind, have been forgotten, do not receive the necessary funding or the equitable access to facilities that you see in other areas within the district that possess the money and the funding for their communities. And so with this knowledge, with this understanding, I think that especially for Black people, although the Affordable Care Act, for example, was a good thing, what I'm thinking about when I make statements like that is the wealth gap that continues to widen with Black people. The fact that we live in one of the biggest metropolis cities in the South, and the opportunity for Black people continue to minimize year by year. Homelessness continues to rise. Poverty continues to rise. And that is the foremost reason that I ran, because essentially, as I stated earlier again, is that I'm here to end the political bureaucracy that has monopolized the power against the people, that has furthered the interests of the party instead of the people. For example, within my run, and I've stated this time and time again, I've always been for the people. The party did not support me. Why is it that when you have a good-natured candidate who's pushing the ideologies and the political policies that would do well for the people, why aren't you helping that person out? Why is it that because I challenged an icon and I was looking out for the better interests of the district, why is it that I was shut out by almost everyone? I do, however, possess relationships with people of the party. For example, my campaign manager, Alexis, she is a part of the DeKalb Young Democrats. She's on the executive board. She's a secretary. And that shows how the willingness I have to work with the party. But I think that I would be remiss if I didn't be honest and specifically state that it's important for the party to now allow the people of the district to become empowered, and instead of pushing ideologies that are party-based, they need to push ideologies that are people-based or human-centered based. Not to mention, if you check my endorsements page, you will see that I'm endorsed by a lot of people within the parties. Former Georgia State Senators candidates have endorsed me. Former federal senator candidates have endorsed me because they believe in the vision that I have, and they share into this vision as well. From the perspective of a Black male that has been voting Democrat since I could vote when I was 18, I think that I can honestly say that for years now, the Democratic Party, like knows, they absolutely know that they will get the black vote, but at the same time, they're not creating the necessary solutions needed to uplift the black community from their woes. So I think that, you know, I'm just tired of the party politics, and I think that we have to go back to the basics and understanding that as politicians, the people matter more so than our own personal beliefs. The people matter more than the lobbyists that put money in our pockets to make these laws pass. We need to start passing laws for the people, and we need to start, creating initiatives that will benefit the people more so than to benefit the party itself. I hope that answers your question.
Next is Angelo.
Thank you. I'll try to keep this brief. During this era of COVID, we've noticed that more and more businesses have started moving to online forms of businesses, less physical contact. Do you believe that in the future, during your campaign, that technology will be a big part of our future and access to high-speed internet will be something that this nation will need?
What's your name?
Angelo Mendoza, sir.
Angelo, thank you for that question. First and foremost, the future is now. And the reason I say that is because as a teacher, as a special needs educator, one of the things I'm pushing is that broadband access needs to be free everywhere. And I think that's not only important for our education system, but to your point, that's very important for business as well. And alongside that, I believe that, like yesterday, we should have implemented a technological bill of rights so that people can start, you know, having more processes of securing that data and even become paid for that data. But that's a whole nother conversation. But to answer your question, I think that we need to rebuild our infrastructure or revolutionize our infrastructure to the point that high-speed internet access needs to be available for everyone in all of America, from rural areas to urban areas. Because as we've seen within this pandemic has shined a lot of holes within our society, especially from the infrastructural standpoint. And I think that it's very important that broadband, high-speed internet access is not something that people should pay for at this point. It should be free to everyone. And just answer your question, for everybody else, I'm having town halls every Thursday from here to the election. And I think I wanted to say this before I forgot, because I will be speaking about this along with many other ideologies or issues that are plaguing our nation right now. But Angelo, thank you for that question. And to answer again, high-speed broadband internet access needs to be free and available everywhere along the continental United States of America.
All right. Next question comes from Ed. If you don't mind, we're running short on time, so try and keep the questions condensed, everybody. Ed, you still there, man? All right, well, maybe
Can you hear me?
Oh,
Can
there he
you
is.
hear me? Okay, you can hear me now. I'm so sorry. Yeah, I had to turn up my mic. All right, so the thing is that as in terms of like Georgia, right? Atlanta has actually been known as a new epicenter for Black America. Possibly even like we were having a debate the other day. What's the number one Black community in America? Is it LA? Is it Atlanta? They both have a real strong claim to that, right? And we know that historically, right? You're going for Congress, a national seat, right? And for a long time, right? We know that a lot of times, sometimes Black communities don't receive as much as the funds, the national funds as that. And you know what? Honestly, there are sometimes people that go along to get along give up stuff, right? Yeah. How will you negotiate for this community in ways that others can't? What makes you special? What makes you the winner versus the other candidates? There's like some professor from Morehouse College. That's pretty legit, right? But how are you gonna? What makes you special? Why are you the champ?
I'm the champ because I am from the district. I am born and raised from the district. I've been in the foxhole on the ground with the people, but not only that, I'm able to work across party lines, because a lot of the solutions that I believe in or that I plan to implement is something that the people is going to benefit the people, and not just benefit the people with the Democratic title, but also the Republicans, also the independents, also those who don't choose to vote at all, because they have become turned off by politics. And I bring those people to the table and I allow them to have a voice. And the biggest part of that is, unlike the rest of the people that I'm up against, I'm not an establishment candidate.
That's a great answer. I've had great experience with people that are invested in the community, with people that are actually part of the community. That's huge. That's huge, right? Like white people trying to take black problems that don't always get 100%. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like they might mean well, but they don't really have a true vision of the problem. So someone who's been living and growing up in the community, not that I'm putting down like anybody who wants to help out people with the issues, you know what I mean? But there needs to be a seat at the table with people who actually live in the community. So that makes a lot of sense to me, man. God bless. Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for asking that question.
All right, next up, we got Ethan.
All right, hello, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
All right, I'm just gonna keep this short because I know we don't really have much time here. I'm from Kansas, and as you can imagine, we're pretty conservative, and we're kind of big gun toting. So I'm curious on to what exactly your like gun control, or like, I shouldn't say control, but just like your overall gun plan, like what you would do in Congress. Exactly.
Well, first of all, Ethan, thank you for that question. I think it's important for me to tell you that I am proud of my Second Amendment rights, and that is something that will never, or something that I will never allow to be infringed upon. However, I think that with such high responsibility, with such a privilege to have that Second Amendment, we need to be more responsible to ensure that we allow public safety to be our foremost top priority. So one of the ideas that I had, and I would love to hear your thoughts about this offline, because of course we don't have any time, was that I think that there needs to be something implemented along the lines of high education and high gun training. And within this high education and gun training, what will happen is when you complete it, it will give you a license, but this license will allow you to have reciprocity around the nation. And I think that's important because oftentimes when it comes to the entire gun argument, you have people stating that who are pro-guns, they also state that, you can't keep guns from the bad guys, which is the case. But I think that it's very important to make it where that every citizen of the United States of America will feel comfortable with the gun laws that we have, so we won't have all these mass shootings and things of that nature. So I think that I want to create the national registry where it allows people to be licensed carriers on a reciprocal basis around the United States of America. That way, I feel that people could have the surety that the people that do have these type of licenses will be responsible with their firearm. And I think that's very important to also have common sense gun laws, like constant mental health screenings, education again, and just overall gun training as well.
All right, thank you very much.
Thank you.
And our last question is going to be from Colleen.
Colleen, you're
You're
muted.
Thank you. Well, I hope we have a moment after to let Lamont, who's also from Georgia Community Forward, to chime in. So my question for you is, going back during the presidential primary, there was something that Crystal Ball on the Hill said that really stuck with me. She said that, Bernie is a candidate for revolution, and Warren, the way she's presenting herself, is a candidate for reform. And then I heard you say Renaissance. And that's just, could you say, what's that vision of Renaissance? And what do you mean by bringing that word into a political movement?
Okay, I'll explain that. Okay, so when I think about revolution, and I have a strong tie to the community here within the Black community here, especially the elder community. When you say revolution to them, they understood what the 60s were like, what a revolution was to them. It was very violent. It was very chaotic. And I feel like we've progressed past that point where violence doesn't have to be the answer, because I always believe in leading with love, because love is what transforms society. Now, when you say reform, I don't believe reform is enough, because we're still dealing with the same issues that we dealt with in the 60s, and we still have these archaic, outdated ways of going about things that needs to change immediately in order for us to have a crystal clear vision of what we want our future to look like. So I say renaissance is because we know what worked, we know what hasn't worked, but we've moved into an age where abundance is everywhere within this nation as far as like the amount of riches that are possible. We have technological revolutions almost every day with many new developments and things of that nature. So I think that in order for us to move past this hump that we just haven't been able to get over, I think that we're in a renaissance now, and the people are fed up with the lack of action from our government, and the people know 100% of the way that they deserve much more than they've been getting since the beginning, or since a long time ago. And so I always say that we're in a renaissance because now this year specifically, the people have been speaking up and speaking out against not only the injustices of this nation, but just the lackluster treatment they've been getting from those who swore to serve them. And so the reason I use renaissance is because, beyond anything, it sounds better to me. And I think that what we're now seeing is that it's a changing of the guard. I think that I call myself one of the leaders of the new school because I think I represent this next line of young leaders that are coming up that are going to rectify the wrongs of this nation. And it begins with me. It begins with me, fighting the establishment head on, taking on a titan as John Lewis, just to show all the people within my district, but not just nationwide, is that I'm fearless. I'm relentless. I possess the courage that's needed to get us past this hump, to get us, towards a future that we believe in. And the future is not far away. The future is now. And so I continue to hit people over the head with that idea of a renaissance, because this is something new. This is a rebirth. This is new trouble. We've gotten good trouble before, but now it's time for new trouble. It's time to have a 100% no nonsense approach to not asking for the change, but demanding the change and taking the change that we need. That's going to help us out in the future, and that's going to allow all Americans to truly, in my opinion, realize the American dream that's been promised to us since the inception of this nation. Thank you. Great question. I appreciate that.
Colleen, you're muted again. Saw you're talking.
Oh no, yeah, that was like really magnificent to hear from that. Thank you so much. Well, I'll go to Lamont from Humanity Forward, Georgia, and last question for the night.
I think she yielded her time. She said her question was more of a comment. But I mean, if she wants to comment it, we're open. But
yes, speak up.
Okay, hey guys. Hey. All I wanted to say was that Barrington's campaign has been such an unexpected and awesome way for us to connect to our community. Like, I've lived in Atlanta for most of my life, and I really can't remember any candidate that like represents the Atlanta that I know the way that Barrington does. And so that's been really awesome to be a part of. And the comment that I put in the chat was he recommended an amazing book to us a couple months ago called Legend of the Black Mecca. And it talks about the political landscape of Atlanta and truly the titans that run the Democratic Party here. Like one example that I found fascinating was that Atlanta was the first city to ever get the Olympic bid on the first try, because the Democrats, many of them are still in power, Coca-Cola is headquartered here, Delta, so many big companies it's just such a business friendly, like powerful place. And so for Barrington to go up against that is just all the respect in the world.
Thank you, Aman.
Well, I think that about sums up all the questions we have, or all the time for questions we have this evening. So just want to say thank you again, Barrington, for coming on.
I do have one last. Could we find out what you would like from us and from volunteers and stuff like that? How can people get involved?
good question.
Okay. First off, go to votethedream.com and sign up. What I'll have either Carrie or Alexis on board. You all, and just I want to know how you would like to help me out. But what I need from you all is to please spread the word about this in my entire election, because again, this is not about me. It is not about me. It's about you. I don't care where you live. You don't even have to live in my district. This is about you. If you believe in liberty, if you believe in freedom, if you believe in all the great tenets that this nation was founded upon, it is dire that you get the word out about my election to everyone in your community, because what we're learning here in Georgia is that voter suppression is not a GOP problem. It's also a Democratic Party problem. I got shut out of the primary. I got shut out of the selection process for the nomination. I accumulated 20,096 votes. And the process was such a slap in the face to the people, because in less than 24 hours, in going through there, first of all, there's no way in the world that a committee could go through 131 candidates in less than 24 hours to figure out who they want to nominate to be for the Democratic Party in November. Not to mention, when you look at the fact that the party chose their chair as the nominee, you see that they went about it in the most unethical way possible, because the law stated that yes, the party chooses who they want to be their nominee, but the law does not state the process in which they must go about in choosing that person. And so what we found, or what we saw from this, is that the party put forth one of the most unethical, untransparent processes. That's basically a backroom deal or coronation, as some people would like to say, of Senator Nikema Williams to be for the Democratic nominee for this position. And I think that it's important to tell, because we often hear oftentimes in the news that it's always the GOP suppressing votes, but in a less than 24-hour period, the Democratic Party of Georgia suppressed the votes of over 100,000 of people. I mean, it's not being talked about. In John Lewis's district, out of all districts in the nation, and that is unheard of. And it's important that we get the word out, because what I'm representing the new flame, I would say, of liberty that is going to ignite all over America. Because once people hear about this, and once people know what I'm trying to do, they will figure out, and they will re-access that power that they've always had, and take it away from the government from continuously abusing the power that people have given them. So if you guys like to come aboard, I'm accepting you with open arms. Just reach out to me on my website on the very first page. Reach out to Alexis and Carrie, and let's just get this thing moving, man, because I really feel that this is a definitely winnable race. I'm coming into this 20,096 vote strong, and I know for a fact that I have the best interest of the people, and I know for a fact that I possess the best means in moving forward for the people. And I appreciate you guys for this time again.
Don't forget about me, this John in Iowa.
Oh, absolutely not. I got you. I got you.
We're at
thank you so much.
110. For folks who are listening in on YouTube or anything like that, this link's staying open. Continue to donate. Folks in the chat, continue to donate. Woohoo.
Yeah, I would just like to commend you on answering really well. I think you handled all those questions really well. You had a lot of tough questions tonight. I think this has been the most difficult questions we've ever had for a candidate. So, and you handled them amazingly. So congrats on that.
Thank you so much.
Is there a donation limit?
Is there a donation limit? I think it's 2,800, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. Alexis or Barrington, could you, do you know what the limit?
I think for a person, it's 2,800 for a primary, and then 2,800 for.
Okay, so the overall, what a person can donate to any one campaign. So that means, like, if you were supporting 3 candidates and you wanted to give the max for each election, it's 2,800. So you can give each candidate 2,800. So if you were a max donor to Barrington in this original primary back that was supposed to be in May and then became in June. You are okay to donate the max, which is $2,800 again this time because this is a new race. But the max for any one person is $2,800 per campaign. So if anybody wants to give that, we greatly thank you. We appreciate it. He knows I've been getting up on him because we are in the process now of finalizing Barrington's second commercial ad. We have one ad currently running on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. So a lot of the donations going tonight are going to be going to purchasing television ad spaces because several of his competitors, excuse me, in this race have already started their TV ads, and due to funding, we're unable to afford that ad space at this time. Also, Barrington is hitting the ground. He wants to go door to door, doing dingo and ditch canvassing, or socially distanced canvassing, but he wants to meet every member of his district and just really ask them what they need. So a lot of the donations are also going to additional yard signs, handouts to give to people. So anything helps, but the max is $2,800. But we're not asking you to max yourself out unless you do want to. But that is what the max is.
I have a question.
Yes.
I just received this message from the VFW in Atlanta, and it states that we will match and support a $2,800 donation if Mr. Martin would agree to debate with members of the VFW. And we can arrange that debate on any TV station here in Georgia. CBS 46, if you prefer, or intended donation. And they are ready to send that donation at his discretion, if you would agree to it.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear who it came from.
This message came from the Veterans of Foreign Affairs in his district in Atlanta, and they stated that they will send a donation of the $2,800, which you said is the max donation, if Mr. agree to a open debate.
May I ask why they want to debate my candidate instead of just having a conversation with my candidate, or is that what they are discussing? Because to my understanding, this would be the first time that my candidate would have any meetings with them. So, I mean, I don't see why it would have to be a debate where it could be an open conversation. Or is that what they are?
I think he was saying that it would be a debate against opponents.
Yes, either debate against his opponent, or as you stated, Mr. Open conversation with our with VFW organization.
Okay, yes, okay. I thought it was an open debate with members of the VFW. I would say this: we will greatly accept a max $2,800 donation. We would greatly appreciate it. But honestly, all they have to do is ask. We will come. That's nothing, Barrington. I'll let you take that. But yeah, we have to pay us to come.
That's if you like. I talk to anybody because again, like I'm here for you. You know, I'm work for you. You are my boss. I am your employee. You tell me what you need, and my job is to make sure you get it. That's without any question. So if the VFW want to talk to me, I'm totally for it. I have a family full of veterans as well, so I understand the necessity for that. So let's get these conversation channels open and let's have an open dialogue. Whatever the VFW needs, I'm here for it.
So we understand.
Absolutely. And may I actually just said that because what I will do is if you can put your email in the chat, I will email you and we can set that date. Because absolutely, that's not a problem at all. I apologize for my misunderstanding. I thought y'all wanted to debate him, and I was like, well, we haven't even met yet. Why we gotta argue?
Well, we sent you an email, in that we definitely believe that he needs to be held accountable. We like to hear his issues. I spoke to Mr. Cooper here at CBS 46, and they said that they're going to arrange for a live debate on his issues. Is that something
Wait, you sent me an email?
Yes, we sent you our email address and everything, and I will be sending you VAW email address to their sponsor and their president, and we'll, as they said, they will send a $2,800 donation if Mr. Martin will agree to a open conversation, dialogue, and debate on his issues, and Mr. Cooper from CBS 46 said he can arrange a live interview on one of the Atlanta news stations at his discretion.
Okay, let me get through the chat. Maybe I missed it. And I will also put my email in there as well, so that anybody can email me directly to make sure that if anybody wants to meet with him, we can. But I don't see why that would be a problem. Myself and Barrington both come from a line of veterans. I actually had a fiance pass away shortly before my wedding. And he was active duty military. So that would never be an issue for this campaign.
Well, this wraps up our AMA and Humanity First Movement weekly update call. Thank you so much, Barrington. Thank you, Alexis. This was truly like really high energy, really informative evening just to learn about your policies, your race, and also just so much of your dedication to the people. Well, now we're going to switch over to a hang. Everybody, you are so welcome to stay on. We'll just drop out from the live stream. So is that all converted now over to hang, Yenny?
Yep.
Yeah. All right. Cool. Anybody here new? Welcome, new to the Humanity First Movement call?
I am.
Who said that?
My name is Ethan. I am stationed here right in Johnson County area in Kansas City. So nice to meet you all.
Hey, Ethan.
Yep. I tried to get to you because I wanted to have that meeting. Sorry.
Yeah, no worries. I ended up forgetting that we were supposed to meet up at 2. So
Yeah, you're good.
What branch, brother?
I just joined. I don't even know. I'm probably gonna go to communications. That's what I'm trying to get into here. Yeah.
Are you KCK or KCMO?
I'm KCK, but KCMO is just as good to me.
Yeah. Yeah, there's some Yang Gang strength in KCMO.
Yeah. I'm kind of lonely here in Kansas. I think I'm the only one on the Slack.
I think you might be the only person who's logged in since the campaign from Kansas.
Dang. Yeah, I am.
Wake Kansas back up.
Yeah.
It's so lonely here. I'm just seeing dust barrels flying around the field.
Oh no.
Are you in the Slack?
Yeah, Ethan is one of our new connects with Discord.
Yep.
Oh, nice. You are the Ethan. Okay,
yes.
Yeah. Nice. Well, yeah, so, in the Slack, but in, anywhere, we do have a conservative coalition. Now that we're finishing with the primaries and all the phone banking and candidate focus, we can get more onto different voter block focus.
Yeah.
So, I don't know are you in a blue center of Kansas, or is that still a fairly...
My county in particular is pretty moderate, probably one of the most moderate counties in Kansas, but Johnson County, that's where I live. But just generally from where I am, I do see there is a lot of tendency in just general agreement. From what I've seen in the presidential primary, just judging by signs, at least to me in appearance, Yang was the third most popular candidate here in the area. So that's pretty cool. But yeah, definitely, I have seen a lot of support for the movement and everything, and I just decided to join because I just kind of got really tired and wanted to participate and do my best to help out. So
awesome. We're so glad to have you.
Yeah, thank you.
Especially on Discord.
Yeah. I've kind of been a Discord nut.
That's exactly what we needed. We're like, wait, Yang Gang owns the internet. Why is it so hard to find volunteers?
Discord people.
Yeah, Discord, Twitter, Facebook.
Yeah. Discord's probably the youngest demographic of media platforms. So yeah.
It's the largest voter demographic.
We've got a couple other people here that I don't recognize the names of. Sonia Niebuhr.
Yeah, I'm part of the Atlanta group.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah. So I've just been quiet, but I've enjoyed it. Enjoyed the drama.
This is the spiciest call we've had yet.
Yeah.
Nice.
We don't generally end up having like beyond the like Yang Gang group constituents come on the calls. So it was I think part of like us doing like a lot more reach out on Twitter. We started doing the Money Bomb hashtag, which Colleen had the brilliant idea of on Friday. So we didn't have much time to work with it yet, but hopefully gonna knock it out of the park with each successive week. But I think that we'll definitely need to take a look at tonight and see how we might want to change things up in the future, because we've definitely had times where we've had a lot of different people that want to ask questions and not enough time. So
yeah, there's like ways we can get questions ahead of time too and stuff, just to make sure that, you know.
And, but it sounds like it could be a productive question though, right?
Yeah. I mean, there weren't necessarily any problematic questions tonight. It was just tough questions.
Yeah.
You know, we just want to like, there's potentially like trolls and people who could come on and just yell. You know, I mean, we don't have a lot of security at the moment because we don't have a lot of people. We don't have a lot of people joining these. You know, not like hundreds of people. So as we grow, we'll have to be more scrutinizing about that stuff. But
like ask your question in chat for screening, or easily we could just have done, you know, he says he has 3 questions. Pick one. Pick one. But it was touchy too, because coming from representing Black Lives Matter movement, like it's hard, you can't stamp out the voice. So
no, I don't want to quiet anybody, certainly.
Yeah.
Don't want to censor anything.
If you got questions ahead of time too, then you could, like, for things like the China, that question, the candidates could have a little bit of time to like prepare an answer or like do a little bit of research if they wanted. So it's not, you know, that could help speed it up too. And make the answers more substantial if it's a more obscure topic.
That could help speed up. However, sometimes when you're on an issue, like in a debate or something, issues come up and you don't have a playbook ahead of time. Sometimes you have to be aware of some things, and if you're not aware, you have to have the guts to say, I'm not aware, because there's a few elections back, I forget how many years back, some news program went and asked about some fictitious war in some fictitious country, and to freshman congressmen, and most of them try to flub their way through it. And one actually said, I know nothing about it, I need to go research it. And they're highlighted, and the ones that tried to flub their way through it was like, they kind of got, they got caught.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely, like honesty and willingness to admit what you don't know, I think is an incredibly important quality in anybody. But
I saw someone doing that with congressmen and women right around when Black Panther first came out, using Wakanda.
I think I saw that too.
Like, there was an astounding amount of them that didn't realize it was a fictitious country.
Oh no.
Do you think with something like that, like horrifying, you would maybe have seen like previews and realized that it's at least a fake country? I don't know.
I can imagine they're not watching a lot of Marvel movies, you know, in DC. They seem to be pretty busy, but
back to that China question. Since Marilyn Strickland came on, I think there's been a China question asked every time. Is it the same person, or is that
that'd probably be me, except I missed the last 2 weeks, but that'd probably be me, because China is a rising power, and if you'd read 2 books, Shadow War, and I forget who the author is, and then the other one's Stealth War. And Stealth War is actually dealing with both Russia and China throughout various chapters, and that'll give you a great insight. And then if you were to get a hold of this month's Atlantic magazine, and there's an article in there I'll paraphrase the title. This is what was the author that had the War of the Worlds? He authored the war. Well, anyway, there's a article in there on China on how they're using AI to control their internal structure, like the Uyghurs up in the Xinjiang province, and then if you keep up on the internet, apparently there's 290 Chinese fishing boats in international waters surrounding the Galapagos Islands right now, fishing, depleting the fishing stocks. Even though they're doing it outside of the exclusive economic zone, they're still ravaging the fishing stock around the Galapagos Islands. And so you have China is pushing right up to the line and sometimes even encroaching over the line, and nobody's doing anything about it. And what their and they're getting a little bit more